Hello, great people. Welcome back to Global Happenings. Today, we are so excited to have you again. Still talking about the presidential election and the fraud or alleged fraud that INEC carried out by totally going against the Electoral Act. Nigerians have spoken, and even those whom personally I didn't believe that they will talk about the fraudulent state of the election has they've also spoken, talking about the likes of Sheikh Ahmed Gumi. Don't forget, this man talked about terror. He has been like the link, or let me say, the spokesperson for bandits and terrorists in Nigeria somehow. Because he's the only person that goes. They bring information without being distorted or without being fought against and all of that. But he has decided to speak about what happened to Peter Obi, because reason is that the fraud was very glaring. I'm going to give you exact words of Sheikh Ahmed Gumi, who is a well-known Nigerian Islamic scholar from the northern part of the country. Now, according to the news, a well-known Nigerian Islamic scholar from the north, Sheikh Ahmed Gumi, took to his social media platform in the early hours of today to comment about the outcome of the recently concluded presidential elections. Sheikh Ahmed Gumi said, "I sincerely hope that the court of law this time will also prove its worth and uphold the truth. This is because if they don't, it may lead to a chaos no force can contain," he added. He further added that the court is the last hope that Nigeria can resort at this moment. Speaking further, Sheikh Ahmed Gumi said the legitimacy of a government can only be acquired when the election process is credible and transparent. When such is not in place, the government will run as a political imposition by a few privileged cabals. Again, Sheikh Ahmed Gumi said, "I implore the opposition parties to go to the Supreme Court to re-establish the supremacy of law and to teach our younger generation the value of resolving disputes through legal means rather than violence." Lastly, Sheikh Ahmed Gumi said, "I advise the people should let the entire litigation process run its course because it has a great deal of importance for our national health. I think the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC failed to follow its guideline in conducting the last week election." Very interesting. But just to talk about this issue, I will want to mention some things. The reason why um, the court itself needs to assume its independent position about the situation and try to persuade the executive to align with them. As we are talking right now, the court itself has lost its worth and value before Nigerians. This is not because oftentimes they've not been doing what is right, but a situation whereby the government itself does not even respect the rule of law, the order given by court. Then there's a big question mark: what will happen if Nigerians decide to go to court about this issue? Now, one of the things that I've seen thus far, especially whenever it's between the people and or the people's choice with the government, that's with the party which is currently ruling, you will notice that the postponement in the case will be really, really disgusting. You will notice that the first day they will meet in court, they will start talking about the case, and then they will shift it for the next 1 month. And guess what? At that point, there's nothing you can do. That's why this issue of Peter will be going to court, as much as Nigerians are happy about it. But don't forget that the person, if anything happens, that the issue is not resolved before the date that he will be legitimately announced as the president of Nigeria, this case is dead, because already everything will be manipulated by the sitting government. Do you understand? For example, now the present president that was announced by INEC gets into office now, and immediately on the 29th gets into office. He will turn around everything those who will be in key position of judiciary and the likes will be people who will only listen to them, people who will pay homage to them, people who will listen to them, people who will do their biddings. So even if the case seems to be very provable, the case is going in favor of Peter Obi, they will not do anything. So right now, I don't know how that can be done. If we are going to the court, President Muhammadu Buhari or whoever that is in charge should make sure that this case is resolved before, even if it has to be everyday meeting, because I believe very well that if this issue is taken overly important, Nigerians or the judiciary can make this case to hold every two days in this country. Already we have backlog of evidence that will be used, to get back Peter Obi's mandate. We have it on ground. Even if they will ask for so much time, give them maximum of 5 days. Let them gather all their relevant listings. Say, by this day, we are deciding on this case. That is the only way out. But unfortunately, we cannot, say with all amount of assurance that that can be done, based on the fact that we've seen cases like that. Imagine, for example, let's talk about the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The court came out and said, please let this guy go. Did they let him go? They did not let him go. Do you understand? Even when Nigerians were screaming, the Attorney General of the Federation created another listing to hinder him from being released. Now that the leading party, the popular party, is the one that they claim has won the election, when there are provable evidence that they win totally outside the provision of the Electoral Act. If it happened that we meet in court, how are we sure that this issue will not be delayed till 2027 safe? You understand? After all, we've seen the case of some of the cases between Atiku Abubakar with President Muhammadu Buhari. In our very eyes, some of them were resolved some few days ago. You understand? Now, even if you have all the amount of evidence, issues that have come up in the country will kill the interest of the people in it. So that's what we are talking about. People have been talking about court. How well can Nigerians trust the judiciary system? How well? Unfortunately, what we were told in school when we were still, learning about government, the systems of government, and all of that, what we were told was that we have three independent arms of government. First is the executive, second is the legislature, third is the judiciary, that they exist independently. But unfortunately, right now in Nigeria, we know that the court is dependent on the executive, because it's the executive that signs their salary, it's the executive that pay their bills, it's the executive that do virtually everything for them. So there's no way they can go against the executive. Those that exist in the state level, you realize that they align to what the governor says, especially if they have an oppressive governor, if they have a governor who does not listen, a governor who is very oppressive, a government who is very domineering, a governor who does not respect the supremacy of the law. They will go after whatever biddings he rolls out. That's what they will do. The same also at the national level. So the issue of going to court is one question that have been seeking for answer till now. We are not so sure. But just like we've heard from different quarters, the case should start now. They shouldn't allow waste of time. They should kickstart the case now, so that this issue can be resolved once and for all. That's what we like to